For many in Britain, Elizabeth II was the only living monarch they had ever known.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Pomp and pageantry are the order
Very, very sombre, recognising that we were grieving and mourning the loss of a very remarkable woman, our monarch, the late Queen Elizabeth II. You could have heard a pin drop during... Sorry, you could have heard a pin drop during the opening speeches. And then every tribute thereafter, people were telling their own anecdotes of their experience of meeting Her Majesty the Queen.
Well, one thing that really shone out, that I really picked up from, as you say, the wonderful tributes and anecdotes, was that as public servants yourself, you can tell when someone is way, way better at it than you. That selfless devotion to duty.
Absolutely. I mean, it was one of the marks of Her Majesty. If you remember, she said when she was 21 that she would devote her life to the service of her people and that is exactly what she did. My goodness me, a life, a well-lived life, but a life full of service. She would never shy away from her duty. She would never shy away. We saw that from the fact that only a few days ago, on Tuesday, she was had an audience of the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss. Now, that was part of her role, it was part of her duty, and she wanted to carry on doing her work, doing her service to the country, right to what turned out to be very close to the end.
And what we've been finding out is, of course, that service to the country, well, we saw it externally and maybe superficially in the public appearances, so many thousands, I guess hundreds of thousands of those over the 70 years, but it was things that people like you saw, and I know you can't share any of the conversations that passed between you during those audiences with Her Majesty when you were Prime Minister, but we know that you, when you were in those meetings, could see that you were talking to somebody who wasn't just ticking the box as head of state. There was some real wise counsel to be given.
Indeed, and I think that was one of the reasons why Her Majesty was so remarkable, because we've talked about the devotion to duty, but she was hardworking. She had a red box every day. She would read the papers in the red box. So she knew what the issues of the day were. She knew the challenges that the government was having to grapple with. But she had an enormous experience, born obviously of her length of time on the throne. So towards the latter years of her reign, that experience could be brought to bear. But she was also very wise. She was a very good judge of people. She was, as I say, down to earth, had a great common sense. She understood her people. I think that was one of the crucial things about her. And she was able to bring all that together in a sense of how, she felt on some of the issues that were being considered and the government was looking at. And critically, it was somebody who was above politics, who didn't have a political angle to come from. She was coming from the angle of an understanding of knowledge and experience.
Now, of course, the vast majority of us in the country have all grown up with only one head of state we've ever known, of course, Her Majesty the Queen. Was she an inspiration to you as you were developing your career of public service?
Well, I think that I was asked a while back why it was that the UK had managed to have at that stage 2 female prime ministers, now, of course, 3. And I did say that I think, actually, the UK was used to having a woman as a leader because we had Her Majesty on the throne for all those years as our head of state. So there wasn't a hang-up in the UK about having a woman as prime minister because we had a woman as queen, as leader of the country for so many years. And yes, when you look back at Her Majesty's life, when you consider, and this was one of the contributions in the House of Commons today was from Harriet Harman, who spoke about the challenge that the Queen will have faced when she acceded to the throne at the young age of 25, at a time when the expectation was that women didn't take leadership roles, that women weren't outspoken, that men were the man was the dominant one in any couple. And she managed, with her grace and her charm,